All right. Well, welcome back, everyone. Thanks for sticking around. Sorry for the lack of sensitivity on my part. I was just kind of hitting my stride, and unfortunately, I don't tire easily. But before we move on, how about some questions before we move on? Any thoughts, questions, observation, anything you want repeated? Awesome. That's just how good you are. Amen. That's great. So this artistic rendition of Azazel being cast down here. Azazel in Jewish thought is Azazel could easily be translated as scapegoat, which you see in Leviticus. It also is a word mentioned in wilderness. Azazel is thought to be the god, the demon. All fallen angels are demons. Is thought to be the demon out in the wilderness. That's his world. That's where he reigns. So Leviticus is actually painting on one level, this beautiful portrait of what God does with our sin. God accepts the sacrifice of the slain animal. He accepts the blood. He has forgiven the sin. Atonement is made. And this beautiful picture of all the burden and all the guilt from that sin being laid on the goat and sent out into the wilderness. What a great visual of, as far as the east is from the west, so I have removed your sin. As far as the wilderness is from our community, so that one level of reading that is awesome. That's why it's a difficult translation. Because the scapegoat, it's Azazel. So what do we do with that? And so one thought is that this sometimes begins to look like there's a goat for the Lord, and then there's a goat for Azazel. That the sin and its guilt that has fallen on Israel is being placed on this goat, and he's being offered out to the God of the wilderness. That the sin, the things that we have produced that is not of God, is being sent out to the one that deserves all that. He can have it. It's not ours anymore. It almost paints this picture that outside of the community, there is a wilderness being ruled by something other than God, to which the guilt and the things that we feel when we step out of line with God, that's what the wilderness is all about. And this goat going out, one for the Lord, one for Azazel, kind of fills in this picture that long ago that Azazel laid claim to Mount Hermon, that was his headquarters. And of course, the reason why you have this rendition of Jewish thought is that they thought, well, if you could ascend up there, you can kind of grab on and come back into heaven. So this high place is being shut off. Azazel was cast down. He is the precursor of the one we would call Satan. He is at least embodied in that same type of vernacular. Leviticus 16 kind of talks about the scapegoat, saying, recognizing his troubled existence. This is what belongs to him, but we belong to the Lord. He becomes the antithesis to what God wants. And what's interesting about Jesus is that he's led by the Spirit where? Out into the wilderness to face Azazel, the Satan, the enemy, the one that's been waiting a long time for his arrival. Crazy, right?
So he deliberately went into Adamite territory to reclaim it?
Well, basically, anything that was wilderness was known to be the property of Azazel. Actually, his main claim in Jewish thought, not necessarily in other cultures, but in Jewish thought, his capital was Mount Hermon. Now, I find that really cool because I don't think Jesus made a 6-day trek all the way down to Mount Tabor. I think Jesus actually went, let's go where it's darkest. Now, on this rock I'm going to build my church, but I got some work to do with old boy hanging out in the mountain up here. We're going to have ourselves a little confrontation. I'm going to walk where the gods have been worshiped, the lowercase gods that have taken my people, that have blinded them to turn to a god like Pan, that had blinded them to put their trust in a man whose name is Caesar. Those that are so blinded, I'm going to go to their own turf. I'm going to go to their beachhead. I'm going to stand where it once all belonged to God, but then he tried to take it. I'm going right back there, and I'm going to be transformed. So when I read Mark 9, I'm seeing Jesus marching up into the enemy territory, going up to the high place where it can only be Azazel's. And he's there, and there before his guys, before they can do anything, he is transfigured right in front of them. He is transformed into his glory, right in the moment that's supposed to belong to another God. In that place, Jesus is transfigured. And there Moses and Elijah show up, and Peter's mind is blown. They're like, wow, it's so great to be. We should stay here. I mean, God has come down to this wicked place. He is here. He's standing, and he is also. Let's just build some tabernacles. And then, of course, the voice of God comes in and clarifies things. This is my son, whom I love. Listen to him. Azazel has had his day. Moses and Elijah have played their roles. But there is one that stands above them all. He is the voice you need to listen to. Yeah.
I was curious, did they instinctively know that this was Moses and Elijah that was on?
Well, they had name tags, so, that's, hello, my name is Moses. Yeah. Actually, that's a great question, and I've actually used that with parents years ago who lost a baby in childbirth. And one of the questions that they asked was, will we know her? And I said, well, it's interesting that you said that, because when I look at the Mount of Transfiguration, Moses and Elijah were distinct and knowable. Like, I don't know how Peter and James and John kind of knew. I like the idea of a name tag, but I doubt that was actually the case. Maybe Jesus high-fived him and said, Moses, what up? Chest bump, Elijah. I don't know if it went down like that, but they were knowable. They had names. In the next life, I tend to think you and I are going to be knowable. You'll retain your true identity. The way that you are now and the best moments that you've had now are just an echo of what awaits on the other side. But you will still be you. I will still be me. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. We are made in his image. We bear the marks of his fingerprints as the potter, and we are the clay. We were made in a certain way, not just for this short little time on this speck of dust, but for an eternity. I kind of like that. I think we need that, especially when we do see things kind of get cut short, and we are getting to an age as a church where we're going to start burying each other. We need to be secure in the fact that in the next life, there is life. Not just an eternal worship service where we're all singing out of tune together. Maybe for the first time you finally hit pitch, No, we actually have, this is just an echo of what God made us for. So there is something that will carry on. It'll be more fulfilling. It'll be perfect. It'll be amazing. But this is a little clue, I think, that tells us we will be knowable. Now, what's interesting to me is that this is a bonus teaching. No charge for this one. What was going on down in the valley when Jesus was up here with his guys?
The disciples were fighting with the unbelievers.
Well, I don't know if they're unbelievers. I mean, the dad was smart enough to bring his son to the only one that he thought could make a difference for his son. And anyone who's raised a teenage boy knows, man, you'll go just about anywhere to get some help when you need it. He comes to Jesus. Jesus isn't there. He goes to his guys. His guys, by this point, have driven out demons. You know, they've done this before, and it's not working. Ministry fail, loser. I mean, nothing they're trying is working. People are arguing with them, almost as if you're doing it wrong. You said it better last time. Why isn't he coming out? And all of this is going on. It's just mayhem. Jesus comes down and he greets everyone with, "Oh, unbelieving and perverse generation." Wow. They're arguing over doing a good thing, and that's not working, and you're standing in the foothold of Azazel, the most this just gross worship is happening, and these guys are a perverse and unbelieving generation. Isn't that amazing? And you start to go, what were they? Why is Jesus so hard on these guys? And I think there is something that you should notice about Jesus that isn't based in archaeology, it's just based in text. He has this incredible rhythm of work and rest, of fruitful labor and advancing the kingdom and getting away to recharge for the work to be done. You know, when the 72 came back, when the 12 came back, and they were excited because even the demons submitted to him in their name, Jesus said, "Come away with me for a while and get some rest." Jesus went up to the mountain to get rest, not rest in let's take a nap, sit in a hammock, but rest in the sense of spiritual rest. I need to recharge. I need to connect. I need to rest for the work, not rest from the work. I need to get ready for what's coming. I need this moment. And his guys, instead of resting down in the valley, they're continuing to work. And all of this is happening. And when Jesus sees these guys trying to do something on their own power, he calls them perverse and unbelieving. What would he call us? Oh no. Because I don't know about you, but I try to squeeze everything I can into every week, every moment. I mean, come on, calendar app. How much more can I fit in you? Man, let's get it done. I got criticized like, "Bill, you are not a campus minister. What are you doing? You're going to go teach." Me and about 25 others in the church, we're doing a Spartan race Sunday morning. You know, so I get back at 11:15 in the PM, and I'm going to wake up early, go to a Spartan race, and jump over stupid stuff because I just rest. Whew. Are you sure Jesus really wants us to do that? Oh, perverse and unbelieving generation. Now, Bill, that's quite a jump. How do you get there? Because I get there because the guys pull Jesus aside and ask him a very good question. Why didn't it work? And what does Jesus say? Yeah. And usually, what are we doing when we're praying and fasting? Yeah. We're resting. The reason why the demon didn't come out is that they were being disobedient to the pattern. They weren't imitating their master. Jesus went up to be with God. And these few guys, didn't take their cue, and they started just, well, whatever comes, that's what I'm going to do. And I would say as a brother, I would want you guys to consider, how you doing? Is there balance? Apart from me, you can do nothing. Abide in me, you will bear fruit, fruit that will last. When are we abiding? And don't just say, well, I have my quiet times every day. Now, when are you recharging? You know, for some of us who are extroverts, recharging counts with a barbecue with close friends. I get so fired up just having people over. You know, I actually have a group of friends that all we do is laugh. That's my rest, man. Get me around those guys. We are going to make fun of everything. No holds bar. It's if you're easily insulted, you just shouldn't come. It's funny. And we eat well, we talk, we hang out, and oh, I'm so charged. My wife is an introvert. That's like the last, when she thinks of rest, that is the last thought. Hey, let's have a house full of friends over. You know, that's work for her. You know, for her to rest is to have nothing on the calendar. She wakes up and she cleans the room she's going to read her Bible in. I'm like, how weird is that? She cleans the whole area. I thought it was clean before she got up, but no, it was dirty. She cleans it. She positions her nice little comfy chair right as the sun's coming down so that the sun lands right on her Bible. And in the wintertime, because in Chicago, the sun didn't come out for years, it seems like. We actually bought her a happy light, one that imitates direct sunlight. You know, so she just spends hours recharging. She needs to be alone. When I come in the house, she asks, can you go somewhere else? Because I'm an extrovert. I'm going to put it out there. If it's in here, it's out there. So it's kind of a dangerous thing to be around me too much. And so, you know, we're so different. But I just want to encourage you. Part of our discipleship is resting in such a way so you can do the work of the kingdom. Unfortunately, I think most of our ministries function more like the guys in the valley. We're doing the right things. We're saying the right things. We're just not seeing very many demons come out. And Jesus is like, you just don't trust me. You need to rest. You need to recharge. That was bonus. Talk amongst yourselves. Do with that whatever you want. I'm gonna switch presentations here real quick because we're doing great on time.
So how does an extrovert and an introvert stay married without killing each other?
Communication, my brother. Communication. You know, it is one of those things where you start to learn to adapt your normal method of recharging so that your partner benefits. You know, so you know, I have deep respect for her spatial needs and her need for quiet. I respect that by leaving and going somewhere where I can be my noisy, boisterous self. She loves that I get time with the guys. She encourages it. She sets up most of the barbecues. And then she kind of steps away with my daughters and says, run, flee from the boys that are coming over. You know, and so we kind of work that stuff out. And so, yeah, it's great. I mean, we got a whole little system going. And then when we go on vacation, it's awesome because we have time for kind of deep reflection and thought and quiet. Then we have times where we go do the stuff that fires me up, jump off stuff, you know, do things that we'll regret later, you know, the normal. Amen. So it's great. Okay, so I saw someone looking at their watch. That's my sign. All right, Bill, let's go. Okay, so we've rested enough. Let's get to some work. Okay, Revelation chapter 3. Remember I said geography is important, right? Well, you know, Glenn got a chance to go to the Holy Land, and he mentioned Laodicea in one of our conversations, which is by far one of the coolest things you have to go see. That whole valley is amazing. Talk about the importance of geography. You have this incredibly wealthy city of Laodicea, of which has only been excavated in the last, 5-6 years? Yeah, 2000. They just started digging it up, and they're finding all sorts of cool things. That is actually piping that they have. They had running water kind of throughout the city. It was so wealthy, they had indoor plumbing. Come on, what's up with that? No going out to the outhouse for them. I mean, they actually had plumbing. But you'll notice their plumbing also kind of has a nice little, oh, it's dying. Oh no, okay, so you see that little ring inside? That's all mineral deposits. So one thing that you'll notice about the piping in Laodicea is that none of the pipes are clean because their water wasn't clean, which gives us this little bit of insight into what was Jesus talking about. Revelation chapter 3, you know the story in verse 14 through 22. It says, "These are the words of the Amen, the faithful and true witness, the ruler of God's creation. I know your deeds, that you are neither cold nor hot. I wish you were either one or the other. So because you are lukewarm, neither hot or cold, I'm about to spit you out of my mouth. You say, I am rich. I've acquired wealth. I do not need a thing. But you do not realize that you are wretched, pitiful, poor, blind, and naked. I counsel you to buy from me gold refined in fire so that you could become rich, and white clothes to wear so that you can cover your shameful nakedness, and salve to put on your eyes so that you can see." Now, Jesus is preaching. What? Oh, batteries. Thank you very much. You are. Diane, everyone. Let's give her a round of applause. I just heard that everyone yelled at you. I'm trying to give you some love, okay? All right. So now, I don't know about you, but I've heard a lot of red-faced sermons about this passage. Have you? The kind that kind of the warnings of, it would be better to be cold and dead in your faith than to be lukewarm. Because if you're lukewarm, he's so disgusted by your sick, whippy, milquetoast commitment, he's just going to... Have you heard that sermon or some derivative thereof? That might have been a direct quote, but I think John Luss didn't quite give it that. No, I'm kidding. Completely joking. You have this image that cold is bad and hot is good. We need to be hot. We need to be fired up for Jesus. Okay, what does geography tell us? Geography does something for us here that you don't see on the surface, because what's going on you have Laodicea, very wealthy city, but it's a city in the valley. But to the